Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hope we're ready to get this day started. Good morning. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Royal, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Oh, be safe out there, Miss Margaret. It is 32 and cold, so you be careful out there. So good morning. Hope we're ready to get this day started. Let's do the introduction right fast and then we'll get started. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there and subscribe as well. They can listen to the podcast anywhere podcasts are found. They can watch the movie, read any of the 8 books. They can do all the things. So good morning, good morning. And if you share the show, please tag me so I can properly tell you thank you. Good morning, Kiva. And listen, Sister Rise mugs, if you go to the link, you'll be able to grab you. I think I have maybe 6 mugs left, as well as Live Past Sister Rise bags left from the retreat. So this morning we had mugwort and mullein tea. That's what we're drinking today. So good morning. I hope you enjoyed the show yesterday. Yesterday was literally 5 minutes and I just had a question. Good morning, Tammy. We were talking about staying and growing. Can you stay in the same place and grow? Can you effectively change in a place where you haven't been growing, or do you grow past that? Do you move? Can you stay in that same place? So go back and watch yesterday's show. It was like 5 minutes and I just had questions. So let's get into today's topic. Yeah, something's in my mind. So today we're going to talk about what is trauma, okay, and what that looks like, and then we're gonna go down a couple of pieces and see, and we're going to talk about some things. So first, what is trauma? Trauma is how our body processes an event. Okay? Trauma is how our body processes an event. We all process things differently. We all handle, work through, whatever it is, we all do it differently. So trauma is how our body processes that event. It is also us. Trauma is us being unable to, in that moment, process our emotions and our physical sensations on how we feel in that event, in response to that event. So in that moment, I am so overwhelmed with emotions and physical senses that I cannot process what is happening, and that causes trauma in my body. It is I can't give a response, and so my body not being able to process, handle, causes the trauma inside of me. Okay? Trauma also occurs when we have no choice or power to defend ourselves or to leave a harmful situation, person, or event. It is when I know is not honored. So those are 3 things about trauma, right? It's how our body processes an event. We can't process the emotion and the physical sensations on how we feel in response to it. It occurs when we have no choice, we have no power to defend ourselves, to leave an environment, person, situation. It is when I know is not honored. Now that we understand what trauma is, what do we do with that? At some point, we have to begin the healing phase. You don't have to, and we all know people who live with a traumatic event and it defines their life, and That's how they live, and everything is a reference point from that. So how do we heal from that? So trauma happens in layers. So your healing is going to take place in layers. For some of us, trauma may not be abuse. Good morning, Joshua. It may not be something great big. Trauma could be our parents getting divorced. Trauma could be our parent dying. Trauma could be our parents separating and we not fully understanding how that works. Your trauma, you know, how it affects you is how it affects you. But your healing process is going to happen in layers. Good morning, Miss Rivera. So if healing is, we look at it in layers in our body. Because first, when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, we got to first become aware of the thing. So the minute I become aware, I begin to start pulling back a layer, right? And the more I pull back layers, the more of the trauma I get to look at and take apart and heal from. You do not have to start this process. This process, good morning, Jessica. This process is completely up to you. This healing process. But it happened in layers. Your body deals with it in layers. And so your healing process starts in layers. You got to first acknowledge it and then decide what you want to do about it. And the more that we peel back and the more we become aware of a layer that is there, we now have the opportunity to heal from that. So if you grew up in an unstable home environment, trauma happened in layers, right? So as you get older, you may have 30 years of layers to go through. That can seem overwhelming. Like, I don't want to deal with those layers. You don't have to. Again, this is your choice, right, Joshua? Trauma can be subtle. But if you choose the route to even acknowledge that there's a trauma or something there, then you got to begin to start breaking it apart. I'm still a firm believer that healing can take place as fast and as quick as you want it to, meaning if you're willing to do the work, the healing will take place. If you do the work, and I'm not saying it's going to be fun, pretty, or easy, I'm saying it's worth it. So if you begin the healing process of it, there are, what's the word I want to say? Consequences to your healing process. It could be you begin the healing process and the consequence is it may highlight some family that prefer that not be highlighted. Well, now you're at the point where you have to decide, do I want to heal or do I want to honor the silence of a trauma? Whatever the trauma is for you. So trauma is how our body processes an event. And in that heightened moment, you are unable emotionally and physically to respond to a traumatic event. So as you begin the peeling the layer process off, there are going to be consequences that come with that healing process. There's consequences that come with that. And it's going to affect your healing. It's going to affect more people than you ever imagined. Just like your trauma, if you choose to hold on to it, affects more people than you ever imagined. So if we're healing in layers, in each layer you get deeper, in each layer you have the opportunity. Good morning, Tiffany. Right, Joshua. And listen, if you're committed to that thing, even in the overwhelm of feeling that, you know that healing is the outcome. Like, my destination is not changing. The healing is what I want. Yes, there's consequences, and you have to, everybody has to think about that because this is your own journey. You have to think about that yourself. But I want us to understand what trauma is and how our body handles it. And for some of us, trauma is our weight. It is our problem swallowing. Trauma is our shoulders and our neck. Our trauma can show up in your body as high blood pressure, diabetes, all the things. And the moment we start breaking that down, then the weight and the stress of carrying it physically inside of you now is lifted. And that's why sometimes growth and change and healing can be so different for some people that they don't understand the newness of life and the lightness of it. And they're so used to holding on to heaviness that when they don't have to carry it anymore, they go seek out something else. Remember, we talked about that chaos, going to find that chaos. And as we're putting structure in place, chaos is going to seem like it's 10,000, but you got to be committed to putting that structure in place. Y'all with me so far? So if I'm healing and my trauma happened in layers, then my healing is going to happen in layers. We're 17 years on this journey. We learn something all the time. Till you get to it. And then you decide, is my healing more important, or is me honoring the silence more important? Or the consequences more important? Because I don't want to embarrass the family, friend, person, place, or thing. So I'm going to just deal with this trauma in silo by myself because nobody understands. And you find yourself shut up in your house by yourself, wishing you could go out and have friends and wishing your life was like everybody else. But you're holding on to that trauma. Good morning, Kimberly. Yes, it takes inner strength. It is absolutely possible. But in that possibility, there are consequences that you have to understand that come along with that. And that is your choice. That's all you. And you have to decide at that moment, will I continue to live in crazy? Or like y'all know, some of us would rather live with crazy than a discipline of freedom. Because crazy is comfort. Because chaos is comfort. Because the trauma was comfortable. Because I've known it since birth. I haven't known anything but yelling, cussing, screaming, fighting, hitting. If I've only known that, and I grew up in it, and I was born, like I was pregnant in it, it is part of your DNA. And you don't know anything else. So then you have to decide what's important for you. So on this great, most amazing morning, let's go over what trauma is one more time, and then you can decide. We all have free will. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just giving you something to make you go, to think about for today. Trauma is how our body processes an event. Trauma is us being unable to process our emotion and physical sensations on how we feel in response to that event. You're so overwhelmed, you don't know how to process it. So you eat it. You physically eat it, like you hold on to it in your body. Like when you're so mad your stomach hurts, that's you. That's trauma, right? The second trauma occurs when we have no choice or power to defend ourselves. When we have no power to leave a harmful situation, person, place, or thing. We feel like our no is not being honored. So if trauma happens in layers, our healing is going to happen in layers. Our body stores things in layers. Because the first time the trauma happens, you may be in such a shock you don't even think that it's happening. That's why sometimes victims of domestic violence can be thoroughly convinced it is our fault that somebody hit us, and be convinced that it really didn't happen because we can't process that trauma so fast. Good morning, Tammy. And because we can't process it that fast, in the interim, if the abuser is there and says, no, I didn't do that, you accept that because you can't physically, mentally, and emotionally comprehend what just happened. So then you begin to accept that truth. And as you accept that truth, it becomes your life. And then when you say, and that's how we can get people who are 30, 40 years, well, I experienced abuse when I was 5 and 6. Well, why are you just not saying something? There's layers. And if it happened and right there, somebody immediately replaces your reality with theirs, you accept that because you were not able to comprehend it. Absolutely. Varied traumas can produce anger and apathy. Traumas produce people who are empathetic, empaths. We are the people who feel things from other people. We are the people fixers, the people pleasers. We want everybody to feel a certain way and be happy. Trauma creates those kind of people. And we'll talk about that on a different day. Trauma can create empaths. At some point, a trauma happened that made you so determined to be an empath for somebody else, so nobody else would have to feel that. It became your life's calling. Y'all with me? So as you begin to heal in layers, as you become more aware of what you're doing, right? As you become more aware of that, and as your healing takes place, welcome to your journey. We will insert our Medicine Woman's prayer here. Y'all know I love this. I will not rescue you, for you are not powerless. I will not fix you, for you are not broken. I will not heal you, for I see you in your wholeness. I will walk with you through the darkness as you remember your light. Good morning, Miss Jocelyn. So as you remember your light this morning, you are whole already. You're not broken because somebody told it to you. You are not powerless. And I want us to pay attention to the words that are coming out of our mouth at that point. Because healing is also about the words that you use in that moment of processing what you're getting ready to heal from. And they've got to be in the affirmative and not in the negative. So on this great, most amazing day, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you have the most amazing day ever. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's absolutely nothing after that. So as we look at our trauma and how our body is processing it today, even though we walk together on this journey, it's an individual journey. You have to decide if this is something for you. And if this is what you need to do. I know, Ms. Rivera, I love it. I look at it every morning. So know that you're not alone. People are walking this journey with you. They're here to point you in the right direction. Hold your hand along the way on that invisible stretch of the road where it's dark the most. They're there to hold your hand there. But friend, they cannot hold your hand unless you raise one to say, I'm ready to begin this journey. But that's individual. So I hope you have the most amazing day. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to the YouTube channel. They can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. And subscribe. It costs nothing to subscribe to the morning show YouTube channel as well as the podcast. If you Google the Live Past Crazy show, the podcast will show up. Any of the 8 books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, anywhere books are sold. We're on Alexa now. So you can say, Alexa, play the Fearless Morning Show. And she will play my lovely voice for you bright and early. We're on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora. So anything you listen to music to, we're on Spotify. So we're on all the things. So you can listen to the morning show there. So I hope you have the most amazing day ever. Be peaceful, period. And I will see you guys here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.